The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome to Social Media Strategies That Work. I'm your host, David McBee. If you are unfamiliar with me, if we haven't had the pleasure of meeting in person or via the phone or internet, I'd like to tell you just a little bit about who I am so you know who you're listening to. I started the blog Let's Translate Making Sense Out of Internet Gobbledygook, which is hosted at davidmcbee.com, about almost 5 years ago. And the reason I did this was to help the sales reps in the Yellow Pages department that I was working to better understand internet marketing strategies. At that time, I was the internet training manager for several Yellow Pages reps around the country. My journey has led me in different directions in which I have sold exclusively to local and small and medium businesses, as well as worldwide retailers around the country. I've worked in the strategies of SEO, pay-per-click, social media, display advertising, you name it. My main focus is helping people understand the gobbledygook that's out there in a way that any third grader could. Really, that's kind of my gift, is making sense out of it. So today we'll be talking about social media strategies, and a lot of this will be kind of social media 101 for folks who have not done social media in the past. If you are a social media guru, you will hopefully find some good pointers in here or some reminders of the basics. So let's get started. Here's what we're going to talk about today. We're talking about why social is even important. Should this be a part of your marketing mix to begin with? Is it worth your time? Is it worth your energy? Is it worth an investment? All those questions we should answer. We'll go over some of the different social channels so that you have a better understanding of the differences between, say, a Facebook and a Twitter and a Pinterest and a YouTube. We'll go over some of the pros and cons for small businesses. We'll talk about your content and how important it is to create content and share your own content, as well as how to leverage other people's content in social media. And then we'll get to the point of social media, which is really engagement and how engagement can turn into free salespeople out there promoting your products and services. I have it available for a Q&A, which we will actually not be doing. Instead, I will give you my contact information so that you can email me your questions directly. All right, so is social media even a big deal? Why are you about to listen to this whole webinar on social media strategies that work if you're not even involved in social media, if you don't think that much of social media? Well, take a peek at this data. And this comes from an infographic that I found called How We Spend Our Time Online. And basically, what it says is that social media is absolutely the number one place that we spend our time. And I don't know about you, but my wife, she's tipping this graph. You know, she spends a lot of time on her Facebook, hanging out with her friends, and I encourage that. You know, over the winter break, we spent a lot of time inside because it was so cold, and she got to interact with all of her friends through her social media, and I think that's a wonderful, wonderful way for people to interact in 2014. Obviously, we spend time shopping, and people know that. We spend time on multimedia sites like Netflix and Spotify listening to our music. We do lots and lots of email. We read our favorite blogs. We, of course, go to the search engines and search for stuff. But social media tips the chart with where we spend the absolute largest amount of our time. So the question's pretty easy. Do you want your advertising, do you want your brand to appear where your audience spends the most time on the internet? And I think we all know the answer to that is yes, and that's why you're participating in today's webinar. Here's a fun fact. 28% of people check their Facebook before they even get out of bed. You know who you are. That's right. Raise your hand if you're one of those people. I know. My wife's definitely one of them. Even I, on occasion, will check on Facebook before I hop out of bed. Just want to see what the world's up to, see who won the latest game, see what the weather's like, you know, what's going on in the world. And Facebook is a great way to do that. If you're a business owner, how would you like to be one of those businesses that's right in front of your prospects first thing in the morning? Well, 28% of them are looking at that particular marketing medium first thing in the morning, and you could potentially be right in front of their faces. So that's a great place to be. Facebook also is one of those things that people check a lot of. And the average user checks Facebook up to 7 times a day. Again, I know my wife is tipping the scale on that, being on it in line at the grocery store and at stoplights sometimes. But again, just more proof that this is a place where we want our advertising to appear because users are going there over and over and over. This is where they're spending their time. If this were the 90s and you knew that everybody went to that one particular newspaper 7 times a day, you'd want your ad there. If you knew that people drove by that billboard 7 times a day, you'd want your ad there. If you knew that people were checking out that television station 7 times a day, you'd want your ad there. Well, guess what? Facebook is that place on the internet. Now, the goals of social, and remember I said I'm good at turning this internet gobbledygook into something that makes sense, and I'm going to try and use an analogy here to make some sense out of social for you. The biggest rule of thumb that I want you to take away from this whole experience with me today is that social is social. That means that when you are online in a social media environment, you have to be friendly, you have to be fun, you have to be social. This, of course, is a picture of a networking event. And obviously, the people here are being social. They're talking about their kids. They're talking about their hobbies. They're talking about their businesses, true. But there's a lot of social activity going on here. Take a lesson from the guy who shows up at that event and talks a lot, right? You remember that guy? He'll show up and he'll hand out his business cards. He'll tell you about his new insurance agency that he just opened or whatever it is, and he'll talk your ears off, and he won't ask you a single question. He is not interested in your business really at all. He's just there to get business. He's just there to talk about himself. How effective is that? How much do you want to do business with that guy? Or compare that to the chiropractor who comes up to you and says, "Hey, tell me about your life. Tell me what you're interested in. Oh, you hike a lot? Yeah, I love to hike. Yeah, my kids were in scouts. We did a lot of scouting. Oh, you film on? Oh, no, we didn't went to a sea base. Oh, yeah." You get to talking about your kids. You talk about your family. Talk about your hobbies. And guess what? My back starts to hurt in a week or two. Who am I going to think about? I'm going to think about that chiropractor who I met at the chamber meeting. I'm going to think about how friendly he was and what good rapport we had and how we hit it off. I'm not going to think about the guy who just comes up to me and says, "I'm a chiropractor. Here's what I do. Here are my services. Here are my products. Here are my prices." That doesn't work in a social environment. And if it doesn't work in a true social environment like this, it's not going to work in an internet social environment either. Okay? So if you stopped listening to me right now and just took that theory, that concept to your social media interactions, you would have better success. Go and listen to other people. Go comment on their stuff. Pay attention to what they're saying online and interact with them. Don't be that one with the megaphone constantly talking about yourself and your sales and your specials and your prices and your services and your expertise. Yes, you have to talk about those things on occasion, but when the time is right. Now, there are a lot of social media channels. And so far, I've mentioned a couple fun facts about Facebook. And most of this training will be focused on Facebook because Facebook is the #1 social media channel. The good news is that whatever I teach you on Facebook really can be translated to work in the other environments as well, on Google Plus or on Twitter or wherever else you decide you want to do social media. But before I go into that, I'd really like to talk about each of those different channels, some of the pros and cons of those channels, and how they might be right for your business or wrong for your business. Now, Facebook, of course, is the big one. A truth is, I believe that every business should be on Facebook. And it's just too big a platform. There's just too many people there spending too much time for you not to have a presence there. If you are a very social kind of business, let's say you are a party and event kind of company, you're going to have to be even more active on social media. If you rent tools, well, that doesn't completely negate you from having to play in Facebook. You also have a social element to your business too. You've just got to find it. You've got to figure out what it is that people are interested in and talk about those things. If you're a dentist, if you're a doctor, those are very social. There's lots of interaction between you and your patients, your clients, your customers, all those wonderful things. If you sell software, those are some of the, we'll talk about some of the products that you offer and how they have a social component to them. Nearly everyone has some kind of a social component of some kind to their product or service. Facebook is where people like to hang out. It's where they like to read interesting facts. They have that news feed and they're constantly looking at it. Really, again, I think everybody should be there. So I don't have many cons on Facebook, except that Facebook is constantly changing. The folks who run Facebook will change it without asking our permission, without asking our opinion. So if you put too much of your uh, internet marketing strategy into Facebook and then it completely changes, then you've got to change with it. And that can create some discomfort, that can create a learning curve. I know of a business owner specifically. He owns a jewelry shop, and his website is not wonderful. It ranks really good, but when you get there, there's just not a lot there. There's a few slideshows of his beautiful jewelry. His whole goal of that website is to drive people to his Facebook, and Facebook is where he does business, and he does great there. He's posting jewelry, he's posting engagements, wonderful, wonderful actions and activities on Facebook. He's got lots of users, lots of followers, lots of comments. But if Facebook changes the rules on him tomorrow, maybe Facebook decides they want to start charging $50 a month for their services. Maybe they want to charge for every post. Maybe they decide that they don't want to do photo galleries. He's going to be in a world of hurt. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's a great example of how you can't completely and totally give over all of your marketing efforts to a social media channel. Now, as for Facebook, we'll get back to it quite a bit more later in the presentation. The next biggest social media platform, of course, is Twitter. And Twitter is an interesting one. Personally, I have not found Twitter to be that terrific for small and medium local businesses. That's not to say there aren't cases where it can be very, very effective and work great, because it can. But in my experience, most of the folks who are on Twitter are there because of they're either in the industry of SEO and internet marketing, or perhaps they are really interested in their celebrities. They want to follow their Katy Perry's and their Miley Cyrus's and see what they're up to. Twitter is wonderful if you're watching live television and you want to participate in the conversation with other folks. You've probably seen, like on American Idol or some of these other shows, where they put a hashtag in the corner of the screen, and you can actually use that hashtag if you're watching the show live to go and see what other people are saying. Glee actually does a really good job of this, and all the Gleeks, they'll call them Gleeks, will have a wonderful conversation that enhances their experience of watching the show, because they're participating in the conversation with other Gleeks. So it's pretty cool in that regard. As for local and small and medium businesses, most of the time, and some folks will definitely disagree with me and even slap me on the hand if they meet me in person for saying this, but sometimes it's best just to connect your Facebook feed to your Twitter feed, and that way you have a presence on Twitter by just posting on Facebook. And that's not a hard thing to do. You just connect the two and you post in one place and it goes to the other. You can also use HubSpot to do that. But if you use HubSpot to post to all your different channels all at once, that's a little bit too automated, and that can actually have a negative impact on you. So you want to mix it up and make it more organic. Bottom line with Twitter is that for small and medium businesses, you have to be a little more clever. You have to think outside the box. You've got to get those followers, and you can do that by, putting your Twitter ID on a banner in the store, on your business cards, maybe on your coasters, your labels, whatever that might be. And you've got to create great content on Twitter and get folks to follow you, and then retweet your content out to the rest of the world. One nice thing about Twitter is that most folks on Twitter are not keeping their posts private. Most of it is all very, very public, which means that a tweet from me or anybody out there about your business is probably going to get seen by a whole lot of folks. Recently, I had some troubles with AT&T Uverse. We just had a very, very slow connection. We had gone through so many different sales reps, or not sales reps, but technicians coming out to the house to try and fix it. Nobody could fix it. I spent time on the phone with folks in India trying to fix it. We couldn't fix it. Finally, I hopped on Twitter and I said, AT&T Uverse, you're really failing me. I need some help. I actually got an email like 10 minutes later, got on the phone with someone who was incredibly helpful and did wonderful things to help me improve the internet speeds at my home. Of course, later I tweeted my thank you, and now AT&T has a wonderful tweet out there about how great of customer service they provided for me. Um, what's the value of that tweet? It's hard to say, but obviously people tend to look at reviews and online social media comments when they make a purchasing decision, so it can have a positive impact that way. Again, for your local or small business, let's say you have a special offer and you've got followers on Twitter. This is a great opportunity for you to tweet that special offer. Maybe you're slow on Tuesdays for whatever reason, and you tweet some kind of special on Tuesday afternoon that brings in some additional business. Again, those are things that you could do on Facebook too, but Twitter's another channel for that. Now, Pinterest is an interesting one. If you have a visual business, this is a really important place for you to play. A really good example that I can think of are those party and rental companies that service a lot of brides. If you are putting up the tent and putting out the beautiful decor and the chairs and the linens and the beautiful silverware, and you're renting all these products to the bride, and you create this beautiful wedding environment, you want to share that on Pinterest. And the reason you want to get that up on Pinterest is because brides use Pinterest. It's very, very female heavy kind of advertising social media platform. And these brides will go to Pinterest, they'll pin all those different things. And the more pins you get, those are kind of social media cues. And when Google sees those, and this is true of all social media, if there's some kind of social media cue going on, it can actually help you rank better for those keywords so that you actually show up better when people search for you. But the more content you get out there, the more interaction you get on that content, the better it is for your site. So you can post pictures of your products, pictures of your services, pictures of your team in action. Like, this is my team setting up this tent, whatever it might be. And if those are pictures that people are interested in, they'll pin them to their own wall. They'll share them with their other pinners and their other followers. And again, it's just another way of getting your images, in this case, not your status updates, not your videos, but your images out there into another community of people who are aggressively consuming this content, even if it's just pictures. So if you have a visual business, I recommend that you have a Pinterest page and that you post your content on Pinterest. It can be very, very valuable. Google Plus. Now, if you're not familiar with Google Plus, and I know a lot of you won't be, Google Plus is basically Google's answer to Facebook. And I could go into a whole lot of theories about why Google Plus came along and how Google Plus is better than Facebook and how they're competing with Facebook and how people are adopting Google Plus and how people are using Google Plus, how Google Plus signed up millions of users right up front, and then a majority of those users have never gone and used Google Plus. But here's my message to you when it comes to Google Plus. You have to play in this space if you want your website to rank on Google for searches. And here's what I mean. If you write this wonderful article about a new piece of equipment that you're renting, let's say it is a chocolate fountain. All right, so you're renting a chocolate fountain. You write this wonderful article about chocolate fountains, and one of the points of the article is how sometimes if you don't have the right chocolate mix, it will get stuck. It'll get what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of clogged up, if you will. It won't run evenly, and you've got all sorts of strategies on how to make this work. And you write this wonderful blog article about it. Well, Google may or may not know that you wrote that article. They're going to crawl your website eventually. And if it's a great article, then hopefully it'll rank when people go to the web and search for, why isn't my chocolate fountain working properly, or my chocolate fountain is clogged up, or whatever it might be. But if you take that same article and post a link to it on Google Plus, you will immediately flag Google to say, hey, look, I've got new content. Come check out my site. And Google will immediately send a spider over, crawl your website, and you could potentially be ranking for those keywords within a few minutes. That's right, I said minutes. I've literally written articles, posted the content up on Google Plus, and found myself ranking for that particular article within less than a half hour. So I recommend that everyone post every piece of content that they ever build and share. And I'll talk to you about building content in just a moment on Google Plus. I think it's incredibly valuable piece of the social media profile, but more importantly, it's really incredible part of your SEO or your search engine optimization. So even though you may not feel like you have a lot of users over on Google Plus, even though you may not feel like Google Plus is a place where you want to spend a lot of time because you don't personally use it, you've got to play in this space because it will positively impact your SEO. Now, YouTube isn't exactly a social media channel, but I've included it here because I'm also going to recommend that you add videos to your content or build content videos. That can be a video of the chocolate fountain. It can be a video of you and your team setting up an event. It can be a video of you at work. It can be a silly, fun video that somehow has some kind of spin that's related to your article, or your not your article, but your work. Maybe you are maybe you're a veterinarian and you want to take some videos of your pets doing silly things. Those are wonderful. They can go viral, whatever it is, gets you activity. And guess who owns YouTube? That's right, Google owns YouTube. So just like in the example I gave you previously with Google Plus, posting a lot of content on YouTube can positively impact your search engine optimization and help you rank better. That is one of the number one goals of posting videos. Now, you can also take those same videos and share them on Twitter and share them on Facebook, but you use YouTube as the place where you host them. It impacts your SEO, and now you have more content that you can share through the other social media channels. So if you haven't already established a YouTube channel, go do that today. Find a way to get an iPhone or a little Android phone out, take some videos, and get them up there, get them going as soon as possible, and do it on a regular basis. Try to add one video a week or a couple of videos a month at the very least. It's great content, and people consume a lot of video online, so don't ignore this strategy. Instagram. Now, I've added Instagram for one reason. Not to say that Instagram isn't for all ages, because it is. I have an Instagram account. But if you are trying to target a younger crowd, Instagram is probably the place you want to be. My 13-year-old son, who I think is fantastic, spends a lot of time on the web. And he has a Facebook profile. You're not even supposed to have a Facebook profile till you're 18, I think, or 17. But he does have one. But he and all his friends, they don't use Facebook. And the reason they don't use Facebook is because, in their own words, the parents have taken it over. They don't want their social media being monitored by mom and dad. And so Instagram seems to be the place that most of the younger generation is going to at this time. Now, I don't know when you're listening to this webinar. It's been pre-recorded in January of 2014. Instagram may be the hottest thing in the world. There may be something new that the younger crowd is flocking to, but for now, Instagram is a hot place to reach the younger audience, that youth audience. So if that's your target market, you probably ought to have an Instagram campaign. And again, run it just like the other campaigns. Create great content, comment on other people's content, share other people's content, and I'll get into that here shortly. Now, when it comes to content, I'm going to recommend that you build content of your own. There is a ton of stuff out there for you to share. Ecards and memes and videos and fun pictures and all these wonderful things. But the folks who succeed in social media really come up with their own content. Let's go back to our networking example. Guy comes into the networking event and he starts asking you some questions. You build up this wonderful rapport, this great conversation. At some point, you really do want to know what he's all about and what his business is all about. And if all he has to talk about is other people's stuff, that is not going to impress you. He's got to have some kind of expertise that shows that he is the authority on his particular topic, his service, his products, to help you believe that this is the person you want to buy from. And that's true on the web too. Yes, you can have this wonderful website that lists hundreds of your products. But if you don't have wonderful product descriptions, if you don't have videos to go along with those products, if you don't have a blog that talks about all the things that your businesses are in, or your customers are interested in, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. Blogs, fresh content, social media that you create yourself, these are great ways to show that you are the authority in the space. One business owner I talked to, we were going over this concept, and he said to me, so it almost is like my website is this magazine and I'm a publisher. And I was like, that's exactly right. Google and social media profiles, all these wonderful things, they reward sites that are the authority in their space. And think about the local newspaper in your city. It's probably got a wonderful website, one that people really turn to, and it probably ranks real well for all the local news stuff. If you become the authority on your space, on your content, then you can be the one that is featured on Google and in the social media channels. Let me show you an example of this. Now, Dr. Cobb is a pediatric dentist in my hometown of Olathe, Kansas. And here is one of his blog articles. And it's an article about instructing your child on proper toothbrushing techniques. Now, this was in October of last year. He got a handful of tweets and a few likes, not a ton of activity. But you know what? When Google crawls this site and they see that this dentist is not only saying, here's who I am, here's my products and services, he's taking that extra leap to go out and write content about techniques for teeth brushing. Guess what? That impresses Google. That impresses the social media, the world of social media. It's content that is unique to him and nobody else. That's fantastic. Here's another one, top ways to prevent cavities in your children. If you're a new mom, if you've got kids with their baby teeth coming in, you want to know some of these strategies. Top ways to do that. And then here's just a kind of a fun one. And again, this is a very social piece of it. He says, have you joined the mustache club at Dr. Cobb's office? And you'll see more of that in the coming pages. But it's totally unique to him. It's incredibly social. And it exists on his website. His blog is kind of like the heart of his social media campaign. And what he'll do is he'll take these blog articles, and as you can see, this one's got quite a few more likes on it, right? Because of all the kids that participated in the social media, in the Mustache Club. And he'll take this content and he'll share that on his Facebook. And that leads us to our very next point, is sharing the content. Yes, you've created it, but now it's time to share it. So what does that look like? Here is an example of a screenshot from Dr. Cobb's Facebook page where he says, all children are different, especially in how they grow and develop. Your child may have more teeth at 12 months than the child across the street. So how do you know what's normal? And if you click on that link, it takes you right back to his blog where you can learn about this. Now think about this in the context of Facebook. I'm a mom. I see this. My kid doesn't have as many teeth, or maybe he's not losing his teeth as fast as all his friends. I want to know what's normal. Boom. I just went and knocked on his door and went to that dentist office to say, hey, tell me more about this. Yes, I did it virtually by going to his blog, but that's one step closer to being a customer. Now, what else might happen with this? With all the hashtags in here, my assumption is, and I'm 99% sure this is right, that this is also his Twitter. This is linked to Twitter. So people who are searching on Twitter for children and child and teeth, they're going to find this as well. So lots of opportunity here to get his content, which people may or may not have found, out into a place where they're spending time. So awesome. Here he is sharing some more content. Now this is a little bit sillier. Even superheroes need to brush their teeth. Cheesy dental facts. Certain cheeses, including aged cheddar, Swiss, and Monterey Jack, have been found to protect your teeth from decay. These are just fun things. These are wonderful, fun things to put on your Facebook wall. And if these are the kinds of things that you put out there on your Facebook wall and people like this, That's going to encourage them to like your page and allow you to drip into their news feed day after day after day. As you can see, Vicky Simpson likes this. The Pediatric Partners of Overland Park like this. South Kansas City Chamber of Commerce likes this. Best Friends Pet and Christy Cowan like. I mean, these are all people who have not only seen this, but taken a moment to click like, and then it shows up in their news feeds as something that they liked as well. So very, very powerful. Let's look at some more things that Dr. Cobb shared. Here's Layla. Layla won one of their contests for November, or December. That's kind of fun. Again, nothing incredibly fantastic about that post, but you can bet Layla's mom and dad liked it. Here's Sam. Sam was, these are the folks that come to their site. These are their business, and they're sharing them socially, the things that they won. So that's pretty fan. And then what is this? Oh, he's the hygiene winner of the month. That is really cool. I didn't even know the dentist did that. So do I want to take my kid there and encourage him to be the hygiene winner? And that shows that he's going that extra mile. By the way, these 436 sites up here, these are the pages that Dr. Cobb likes. Not Dr. Cobb, the user necessarily, but Dr. Cobb, the business, has taken the time to go and like all these other pages. Remember what I said about being at the networking event and liking other people before they like you back? That's what's going on here. Here's another fun one. Dear Tooth Fairy, I lost my tooth on 23 of October. Now it is November 12th. I lost my tooth in pizza. I lost both today. You owe me $1. Not to be hard, but I need money. Anissa. I mean, that is just fun. 17 people gave that a thumbs up. One person commented on it. That means that of those 17 people, even if those 17 people only had 100 friends apiece, there's potentially 1,700 people who saw them like this and checked it out themselves. Here's more on the Mustache Club. I mean, it's just fun. These are just silly, fun things that he does in his office, and they get translated out here onto Facebook. If I'm a mom, if I'm a dad looking for a pediatric dentist, and I check out his Facebook page and I see this, what am I going to think of this? Am I going to think this is some stuffy, boring old dentist, or am I going to think this guy goes the extra mile to make the dental experience for his kids fun? This is fantastic content to put on the site. And this is original content. Obviously, it's pictures from his office. Now, the next concept we're going to talk about is sharing their content, sharing the content from other people. And let's take a look at what that looks like. Here is something that was posted on KC Adventures site. And they posted these fire prevention books. Dr. Cobb liked them and reposted them to his wall. Here is a coupon for $5 off any purchase or more at Happy Kids. And Dr. Cobb saw that and posted it to his wall. iFamilyKC got that site or that coupon reposted to another group of people who like Dr. Cobb. Why did he do that? Is he trying to sell clothes? No. Is he going to make money if iFamilyKC sells more clothes? No. But he is, he's going that extra mile to do something nice for them. And it's good for his clientele. These are obviously people who would love to save money. So that it could very easily come back in a positive way to, grow his business as well. The moms see that, they say, thank you, we love that. Oh, I saved so much money. Who do I owe for this money that I just saved? I owe Dr. Cobb, he's the best. iFamilyKC says, oh, he shared our stuff. Maybe we'll share some of his stuff later. It's just a wonderful way of being social. Here are a couple of other, you've probably seen these e-cards. Do you have chocolate? My mom is going to eat half of my candy, and she likes chocolates. 5 folks thumbed up it, gave it thumbs up. 2 people commented on it. Your children while they clean their room. 1% cleaning, 30% complaining, 69% playing with stuff they just found. And these are just fun, silly things to get out there. Again, that's not original content. It's not incredibly compelling, but this is the kind of stuff that keeps moms going back to Facebook 7 times a day. Stuff that makes them smile, stuff that they find a little silly and fun. Here he is promoting I Love Kansas City as well as the Salvation Army of Olathe. And again, just another way of being social in his community, saying, hey, I love Kansas City as well. I'm going to share this wonderful, beautiful picture. I'm going to put that out there for my users. Um, this one here on the right is all about the Olathe Old Settlers Days, uh, which is kind of a local carnival thing. Great content for him to share. Really relevant to his audience, obviously, and it also puts him on the map and gets him on in their eyes as someone who shared their content. They're going to be looking to share his content at some point as well. Now, let's talk about commenting on their content. And I've got this dude photobombing our famous celebrities here as kind of a way of showing you that that's kind of what we're going to do here. We're kind of photobomb and get on the coattails of our friends. Let me show you some examples. Here is Kansas City Bone and Joint Clinic, and they posted this cute little cast. This girl put all these buttons on her cast. It's adorable, right? And Dr. Cobb decided that he wanted to comment on that. Well, 22 other folks liked it. Lots of people commented. And guess what? Every one of them probably saw or had a high likelihood of seeing Dr. Cobb's comment. So now I've got a little girl. Maybe I'm following this page because I've got kids. Maybe that's my little girl. I don't know. But I see Dr. Cobb with this cute little alligator there, and I'm interested. Who is that Dr. Cobb? That was a cute little comment he wrote. And maybe it takes me to his Facebook page. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a little bit of branding. Maybe it's just a way of getting his name out there. Here is Rockhurst High School, one of the big private high schools in Kansas City. And they're sending their team to state championship tomorrow. And 60 people liked this content. So Dr. Cobb decided to wish them good luck. Why did he do that? Maybe he knows some of these kids. Maybe it's great for client retention. Who knows? But he's got his reasons for posting. Maybe these kids have little brothers and sisters who need a pediatric dentist. Hard to say. But it's a social environment, and these are the right kind of folks to go in there and comment on their stuff. And again, it puts his name and brand out in front of a whole lot more people than it would have had he not run across this photo and commented on it. Here's one for Whole Foods, and a handful of folks liked this. Not only did he comment on it, he actually included Whole Foods back in the comment so that they would be sure to see his comment. And again, if you're running the Whole Foods social media page, and that's not some kind of stupid spammy comment, right? That's really a human being saying, that's awesome, Carol. Thanks for your service. Thanks for honoring the vets. That's a wonderful interaction. And they're going to have a better view of Dr. Cobb after seeing that. I especially like this one. All right, check this out. This is a post by Jenkins and LeBlanc Dentistry for Kids. So also pediatric dentists. They were featured as a 2013 winner in KC Parent, and Dr. Cobb, God love him, classy move, headed on over to their site and gave them a congrats on this. 91 people saw this. And not only did they see Jenkins and LeBlanc won this, they saw another pediatric dentist giving them the thumbs up. How classy is that move? And then this one, this is the total photobomb. I love this one. Here is Wesley Stromberg from Emblem 3. That's a boy band for those of you who don't know. I'm not familiar with them, but this photograph got 9,605 likes. And one of them happens to be Dr. Cobb, of course, getting out there. And now, how many of those 9,000 people are in Dr. Cobb's local area? Not very many, if any. But still, it's a wonderful way to get his name and his brand out there on Radio Disney. And Radio Disney may go through those and decide they want to go check out Dr. Cobb and comment on him and get his message out in front of a lot of folks. It's hard to say. It's hard to measure. I mean, it's like a lot of social interactions. You just go out there, you do the right thing, you be nice to other people, you share their content, You congratulate them when they win something, and it's all about karma. It's all about it coming back for you. And then we're going to talk about engagement. Now, here's the cool thing. In my opinion, this is how you measure the success of a social media campaign. Now, I'm going to talk to you real briefly after a couple of slides here about Facebook's reporting and analytics and things like that. But in my opinion, what I'm about to show you is why we do it. This is the heart and soul of why we do social media, and some great examples of what can happen if you do it right. Here's Dr. Cobb's Facebook page. Now, I have chosen not to show everything on the page, and instead I'm going to look at posts by others. So these are people who don't work for Dr. Cobb. Well, one of them might be from his staff, but for the most part, these are people who just were motivated to go and post on his page because they love him. They like his service, whatever it is. Let's look at some examples. Here's Melissa Frost saying Merry Christmas right there on Facebook's on Dr. Cobb's page. Let's talk about that for just a moment. I don't know how many friends Melissa Barnett has, but the average Facebook user has over 300. So potentially 300 of Melissa's friends saw her wishing Merry Christmas to her pediatric dentist. Will they all see that? Absolutely not. I'm not naive. I'm not trying to, sell one over on you. But if one mom happened to see that, who's a friend of hers, say, hey, I happen to be looking for a pediatric dentist, guess what? That could easily lead to some business. Russell Lynn says, our kids' teeth have never been better since going to Dr. Cobb. Great guy, great staff. Highly recommend them. Our kids actually look forward to going there. And again, guess who sees that post? Every one of Russell Lynn's friends that is online checking Facebook at that time. They all see that. Here's Jack Goza actually taking the time to post on the Mustache Club, which is pretty cool, with his brother Chris. I assume that's his brother. But yeah, that's fun. I mean, these guys probably have friends who are hanging out on Facebook, and they're checking it out too. And there's another opportunity for this wonderful pediatric dentist who's a lot of fun to get in front of all of Jack Goza's friends. Over here on the right, Micah Wickstrom says, any tips or tricks for how to handle that first loose tooth? The countdown has begun for this beautiful smile. And she posts this wonderful picture of what we assume is her daughter. And this is a great opportunity for Dr. Cobb to answer her question directly, to interact with her. I don't know if this is one of his patients or not. Maybe it's about to be. Who knows? Maybe Micah went and posted this on several pediatric dentists' Facebook page. Maybe Micah doesn't want to make phone calls. Maybe she's like my wife and just wants to get it out there and in a social media environment where they're more comfortable interacting with sales folks. It's hard to say. But again, every one of Micah's friends probably saw this post. Here's some more. Stacy says, Dr. Cobb is the best children's dentist we have ever been to. We moved here 2 years ago and thank our lucky stars that we heard such great things about Dr. Cobb. My kids just love him and never mind going to the dentist. I just wish my husband and I could go there too. Every one of Stacy's friends saw that. Every one of Deborah's friends saw Ricky started going there and is no longer afraid of the dentist. Here's more from Micah. Let's back up a second. That was on October 13th. Here we are on January 14th. Okay, so looks like this is a patient of Dr. Cobb's. Well, that's fantastic. All right. My daughter had her first dentist appointment today, and we could not have asked for a better experience. Let's see. Thanks, Dr. Cobb, for taking the time. Thanks, Dr. Cobb, for taking the time to call this evening to check on Luke. We appreciate all you and your staff do to make your office such a friendly place. That is fantastic post. Imagine if Dr. Cobb had posted, we like to call and check on your kids after their first appointment. That is a little too toot my own horn, if you ask me. I mean, you maybe could get away with it, But hearing it from this third party makes it just that much more fantastic. Bernice Suarez, this is our wonderful dentist that I told you about. Okay, so what's going on here? Not only is Pam saying something wonderful and nice about Dr. Cobb on his page, she has tagged her friend Bernice in the post. And it sounds to me like there's a referral going on right then and there. You can't ask for better than that. This is my son's dentist. He's awesome. My son has autism, and Dr. Cobb goes above and beyond to make our visits as comfortable as possible. Powerful stuff. Powerful. So how do you measure success? Well, I just showed you how I measure it. My belief is that those posts by other folks, those are the most likely to turn into actual sales. Certainly turns into customer retention, to brand loyalty. How do you measure the success of a networking meeting? I mean, do you go to the chamber meeting on October 1st and then look at the sales you made during the month of October and say, oh, I didn't make any sales from that 2 hours I spent there, so I'm never going back? No, that's not how it works. You're going to that chamber meeting, you're creating relationships that you hope and believe will turn into sales down the road in the long run. And that's what you're doing online as well. There's no difference. It's just social media. It's just on the internet. You're creating relationships with your clients. You're creating relationships with potential clients. You're creating relationships with other businesses who target the same kind of folks you target. And they're going to help you get business. They're going to help promote you. You're going to help promote them. You're going to help share their stuff. And there's really no way to prove that those things that you do are going to translate into direct sales. So I want to tell you a quick story. And it's about my wife using Facebook. And a couple of years ago, she got on Facebook and she said, hey, where should we go on vacation? Instead of just calling up all her friends and saying, hey, where'd you guys go on vacation? What should we do? We didn't know what we wanted to do. So she's like, I'll just throw it on Facebook and see what kind of response I get. She got like about 30 different responses. Go to Disney, go do this, go do that. And one of her friends said, you've got to check out this wonderful resort called Dreams Cancun Resort. And so my wife hopped on over to the Dreams Cancun Resort page. She hit like, and she liked their page. And they did a wonderful job of creating content, posting lots of pictures of people drinking margaritas. They got some content on swimming with the dolphins, the local trip to Chichen Itza, and all these wonderful things. And every day when my wife would go to her Facebook page, she would see a little drip, drip, drip from Dreams Cancun Resort. So here we are a few months later, and we're trying to make a decision on where we're going to go, and she's sold. She's ready to go to Dreams Cancun Resort because she wants to taste those margaritas. She wants to lay in that hammock, and I'm all for it too. Sounds awesome. So we head down to Dreams Cancun Resort a few months later, take the kids, we swim with the dolphins, we do the whole bit, and we spend a lot of money. I ain't gonna lie. You get down there, you spend more than you think you're gonna, right? So we spent some money at Dreams Cancun Resort, and as a marketer, everything in me wanted to go to the front desk, find the manager, and say, the reason we are here spending our money is because you ran a wonderful Facebook profile page. Did I do that? Absolutely not. Are most people going to do that? Absolutely not. Had they said to my wife, hey, how'd you hear about us? She probably would have said, my friend Amy told me about you. And Facebook wouldn't have got any of the credit at all. And so for you to try and track your sales back to Facebook, it's going to be a very difficult thing for you to do. It's almost immeasurable. And some folks out there will disagree with me. They'll talk about metrics and coupons and call tracking and all these things, and that's fine. But it's been my experience that if you just do social, and if you just do social right, you will get an increase in business. And you don't have to track every single sale back to specifically and exactly where it came from. That said, here is just a peek at some of the measurements that are available in the Facebook tool. If you go into Ads Manager, you can post ads. If you go in here, basically what you're looking at is the number of likes that you have, the number of folks who saw your content. That's reach. So even if you only have like for example, my Boy Scout troop, I actually run my son's Boy Scout troop Facebook page, and we have like 71 likes on the page. It's not very many. But when I get some interaction and people start posting and commenting on the pictures and things like that, we've had some pictures that were seen by over 700 people. So 10 times the amount of folks who like our page are actually engaging or are reached by our page. Engagement is a different thing. Engagement, of course, measures how many people are participating by commenting and sharing and posting and things like that. And I think engagement is probably where you should spend the majority of your time focused on if you are looking at these metrics. So again, I know I don't go into a lot of detail on how to measure those things, and there are people smarter than me that you can look to for that. There are tools for measuring those things, but in my opinion, it's really all about doing it right and having a little bit of faith in the strategy and knowing that if your business is increasing over the time that you're doing social media, you're probably doing social media right. At this time, I will end the webinar. I want you to feel free to reach out to me personally at david@davidmcbee.com. If you haven't already, check out davidmcbee.com for all sorts of wonderful content about internet marketing strategies, everything from SEO to link building to infographics to social media. I hope you'll check it out, and I hope to hear from you. Thank you so much for your time today.